Hello, my name is Mark Saunders, and this is a YouTube video presentation on using GenAI to edit references style. And it's one of a series of YouTube presentations on my YouTube channel, Mark Saunders on Research Methods. And you can see the link to this on the bottom left-hand side of every slide. In this video presentation, we're going to start by looking at why correctly formatted references matter. Then we'll have an overview of using GenAI prompts, and then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. We'll look at GenAI's response when we ask it to put something in Harvard referencing style, APA, American Psychological Association referencing style, and then for a specific journal. And then there's going to be a little bit of a warning to be aware of policies and also what journals say, and then we'll summarise what we've talked about, and there'll be references and further reading. So let's start off by looking at why correctly and indeed consistently formatted references matter. The first thing is it ensures that the originators of the work get full credit for their work. The next thing is it enables us to locate the work, in other words, to find the journal article, the book, or indeed the report and various other things, and know where to find it. It's also crucial because it's often part of your assessment criteria. So if you're doing assessed work and you haven't got consistent references, you're going to lose marks. If you don't reference, you may inadvertently plagiarise because you haven't actually said what the source is, and so you'll be accused of plagiarising. Again, losing marks or indeed even failing an assignment. And finally, a really crucial thing, for others reading your work, if the referencing is disorganised or poorly done with missing references, this reflects poorly on you and on your research. If we look at GenAI prompts, the way we actually write them actually improves its generative capacity. Without having clear prompts for our research questions, what GenAI does is it does its own thing and interprets what it thinks we want. So we need to be as specific as possible. Now the prompts have a series of components. The first is the task, what you want GenAI to do. Then there's the context in which you wish to do it, and then some examples perhaps, or exemplars. And these form the basic formula. We can actually develop this still further by adding in do's and don'ts, and things like what format do we want it to be in. So this is the whole thing together is the specifications formula. So let's give GenAI a basic task, and the task we want to give it is to list a series of references in APA format. So we specify the task as listing the following references, and the context is APA format, and then we give them our original list of references. And here we have 3 references here, and if we look at them, we'll notice that first of all these references are inconsistent. If we look at how they're done, we can see that the punctuation is different. We can see sometimes, for example, they put a full stop after initials, other times they don't, and so on. But what we also see is all the information required is present. So we have the book titles, we have the journal titles, we have the article titles, we have which edition the book is, and so on. Let's see how GenAI does on this. So here's GenAI's response in relation to the American Psychological Association listing these references. And first of all, we can actually see now that the referencing style is consistent. The thing is though, with GenAI, it's gone and put numbers on this, and we know that within the APA style, references are not normally numbered. But that's pretty much it. Now we're going to ask it to do it in Harvard style. And here it comes back, and it comes back and says, here are the references formatted in Harvard style. Again, we need to remember that references are not usually numbered, and yet it's done that. Here, we normally, when we do book titles, we do them in title style. That means all the main words in the title have capital letters. So if we look down to reference 3, exploring corporate strategy, we'd expect to see a C and an S on the corporate strategy. And similarly for reference 1, exploring strategic change, they should all be capitalised. The other thing in Harvard style is that the edition number of books, so for the 4th edition for the first reference and the 13th edition for the 3rd reference, is normally in brackets. However, we have to remember that with Harvard referencing, there's not one just Harvard style. There are varieties, so this could be one Harvard style other than perhaps the numbers on the references. And indeed, your own university may well have its own version of Harvard style, so please do check. Now we're going to do something a bit more fun. We're going to actually ask it to do some references in the style of a particular journal. And so we've asked it this time to do the references in the style of the British Journal of Management. And as before, it's numbered them. However, when we looked at the British Journal of Management, the date normally comes directly after the authors, not at the end, and it's also in brackets. The journal title or book title is italicised, which it isn't in this case. Just look, for example, on the second one, California Management Review. And the volume number, again looking at the second reference, that's the number 3 in brackets, should be in bold, and again, this isn't. However, at least it's consistent. So we're now going to look at how we can actually get closer or exactly to the British Journal of Management style. So what we've done here is a much more detailed prompt. We still have the task, lists the following references, and then we give an exemplar. We say in the same style as these references, and as part of the exemplar we list 3 references which have been taken directly from the British Journal of Management. We also have the context, and this is added italic, a number volume in bold as in the APA style, but we have a don't and not as a numbered list. And then we have the 3 references that we want them to actually sort out. Obviously for our own references they'd be a lot longer. And lo and behold, GenAI gets it absolutely right. We have the references exactly as they would have appeared in the British Journal of Management. And the style is spot on and everything. So with a much more detailed prompts, GenAI can actually deliver exactly what we want. However, we have to beware because there are university and journal policies. So for example, a university policy may say that GenAI tools can only act as a third-party editorial assistant. Well, in this case, this is what we've actually used it for. Now let's look at what a journal might say. So we'll look at Sage journals. And they say if you decide to use GenAI to generate content or images in your submission, you must follow these guidelines. Well, you clearly must reveal any GenAI generated content. Well, in this case, we haven't got any GenAI generated content. What we've done is use it as an editor. We have to verify the accuracy, validity and appropriateness of AI produced citations. So we would need to check these citations very carefully. And again, it says carefully check any produced by AI. Well, these weren't produced by AI. These ones we produced, and they just actually edited them to make sure they're in the correct format. But it's worth looking at these policies here. So in summary, GenAI sometimes numbers references when it's not needed to. But it's pretty good at fully prescribed styles such as APA, American Psychological Association, although do beware of the numbering. It can, however, as we saw with the British Journal of Management style, get things wrong. However, more detailed prompts, when we actually move down to using the specifications formula, can work. And we saw that when we asked for the task, the context, and exemplar and had do's and don'ts. If you leave only partial references in, it can make mistakes and it will try and fill the gaps in, often with nonsense. So we have to beware of using it as anything more than just a third-party editorial assistant. And even when we do this, we need to verify the accuracy, the validity and appropriateness of what it's actually done. In terms of references and further reading, my new book, Doing Research in Business and Management, which is out in 2026, talks about this in chapter 2. Then we have the reference to Sage, where they have guidelines on assistive and generative AI for authors, and then you've got the web link there. We've got the University of Birmingham's policy on doing this and guidance when using GenAI tools. And then we have the Valeric Business School, how to do GenAI formulas and make the sensible prompts. I hope you found this YouTube video presentation useful, and I'd be really grateful if you'd subscribe to my channel, Mark Saunders on Research Methods, and also told your friends and colleagues about the channel as well. I'm adding new videos to the channel nearly every week, and hopefully they'll be of help to you in your own research.